Evening all. Well, I'm not dead. That's probably number one. Welcome. This is just a quick little snippet video of VR footage. This is going to be a bit of a conversation about Eve, and God, this feels weird doing this. I've been playing a lot of VR, and I thought, well, I've been saving up some cool footage. So I thought I'd share it with you. This is just, if you have VR, you must download this game. I love it. Look at that. I shot between his legs. Literally, a bullet brushed his scrotum. There we go. Word of the day. Brushed his scrotum. This is a game called Compound. It's really funny. And the reason I'm even doing this video is because FanFest has just happened. It's the 17th of April. 2017, and the eFanFest has happened, and there has been multiple references to Nova, which is obviously the successor of Dust 514. Rest in peace, never forget. And what's interesting is it looks as if the game might be happening. I don't know. Certainly the language was sparse. I think what they have committed to was basically they wish to make the game, which I guess is always nice. So they have a desire to make the game, which is pretty cool. I hope they do. In this video, actually, we're going to show a bit of footage of Valkyrie as well. I know, I honestly didn't think I'd like that game a great deal, but lately, I've quite enjoyed it. So, stick tuned, and basically just join and watch me play some stuff. And at the end, there's a little girl playing with a sword in a weird kind of anime, Ugu-esque weird way. So, you've got that to look forward to. But VR is good. Would I recommend buying VR? Yeah, I think I would. I think certainly there is this kind of missing lack of games. No big developer is yet willing to do a big game for it yet, and this shows. Arizona Sunshine is probably the biggest budget game, and I don't like it. It's just, it's not great. I don't know why. Maybe I just need to give it another go, but I prefer to play games like this. This is, the graphics are crap, but what works so well with this game is the fact that it's just so playable. Like, literally, you can see me like sneaking behind imaginary doors and pillars and stuff and shooting dudes who seem to not understand tactics. But it's fun. I really do enjoy it. Got shot. I really do enjoy the style of game. And this is a free game for flip's sake. So, he's still working on it, I guess. But it's this kind of thing that VR does well. That's pretty. Which is this, it kind of just makes you feel like you're in there. And I've got to admit, there's been a few moments lately where I've been blown away by how good VR can be. And I'll tell you about them, because one was this game. I got so immersed in it that, it felt like I was, ambulating around. Ambulation is still a big issue, but we'll come to that. The one game that has completely blown my mind is a hack. It's a hack for Half-Life 2 in VR, and my God, it's good. The only issue with it is that you have to use your keyboard WASD to move around, so you actually do get a little bit queasy playing it. But I think once they add in ambulation through the controllers, and the other thing is you aim with your mouse, which is stupid, but you don't, you get used to it. And I've got to admit, just being in the Half-Life 2 world in 3D or VR rather, is amazing. Like the one bit where you pick up the gravity gun and then you're in the when the Combine attack and you're in the little airlock with Dog, you feel like you're squashed in with this huge hulking robot, and I never got that before, and I think that's been one of the things. And plus, just running through Ravenholm, if you know what I mean, Ravenholm, remember that place? Running through that with VR on is actually quite scary. It's not terrifying, but it's certainly, you're on your edge, and you're kind of peering round corners like I am here, looking for those little black face hugger things, because it was really impressive. So I enjoyed it immensely. Anyway, back to Nova. So this channel obviously was dedicated to Dust 514, really. So if they did Nova, and that's kind of why we haven't done a lot of footage since. Work's still crazy for me, so just getting time to play games is tough. I played a lot of Ark over Christmas. That's a bloody good game, but again, it's insidious because you just find that you spend days you're spending days watching an egg hatch, which just felt like a real waste of time. But then again, that is the subtext of all gaming, is it's a massive waste of time, and I think that unfortunately is how our hobby is felt. and prescribed to us. So anything that has a little bit more of a start, a middle, and an end, I'm enjoying at the moment. Immensely enjoying Shadow of Mordor, and I can't wait for Shadow of War to come, because those games are just amazing. I love the fact that there's a story, and I love the fact that it has an end. So definitely enjoying that. But I have also been enjoying Eve Valkyrie. So Eve Valkyrie footage is coming up, and we'll talk about that when we get to that. I think if Nova is going to happen, I think it's going to be an interesting thing, because it's going to be happening at a time when it does feel like the industry is now deciding, is VR the future, yes or no? And I think with things like Steam and the way that they have embraced VR, I mean, if you've ever played Steam VR The Lab, you'll know what I'm on about. But if you haven't, it's a wonderful demonstration of what VR can do. And when you start to see that, the beta version of Half-Life 2 developers fix with VR is looking bloody good, as I say, that if they could just sort the controls out, that I think in itself will be a flagship game. And it's an old game, but in VR it just looks astonishingly good. So I can see there's going to be a real push, if you like, towards these things. Plus, we haven't spoken about the obvious one, which is Fallout 4 VR. Is in theory going to be the marker game for VR. So if you know how good Fallout 4 was, if you add VR to that, I think you're going to find an incredibly interesting game there, and I will certainly be playing it. So this is the issue VR suffers with, is that there's an awful lot of filler at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. But what can you do? I do find that the vast majority of the VR things that I download and play are a bit rubbish, but that's because there's only really indie developers doing it. And I thought, well, this is interesting. So I actually downloaded the Unity. Oh, look at one. I downloaded the Unity engine and I had to play with it. And within 20 minutes, I had my own little VR game, which was weird. Really weird. And you think to yourself, that can't be that easy, but it really is. To do something nowadays feels like you're cobbling together downloads from GitHub, and you're using YouTube as your teacher, which is amazing. So I can see that there is this explosion of indie talent, and when you look at games like this, it's a great thing, because there's a lot of amongst the noise, there's a lot of very good games. So I think if you can kind of warrant the cost of a VR headset, I'd say it's a good time to do it. I've got a lot of mileage out of my one. I have also been playing the staple games like Elite Dangerous. Now, I really like Elite Dangerous, but I'm not going to get drawn into a discussion between Eve Valkyrie and Elite Dangerous, because to me, they're different games. I know that there's this rivalry, weirdly enough. To me, Eve Valkyrie is an arcade version of Elite Dangerous, which is a real-time management game. I mean, Elite Dangerous is the Euro Truck Simulator of gaming in space, because it's just so realistic and it looks good. So when you actually play Elite Dangerous, if you've ever played it, it literally relies on you being a space trucker, space pirate, whatever you want it to be. But it's all grounded in a high level of reality. So reality is a tricky word, but it will punish you if you do something stupid. Whereas Eve Valkyrie is just an arcade game. You play it, you shoot it. It's the Dust 514 of VR games in space with a VR kit in a ship, and that's the difference. It's not really anything different than that, and I kind of respect it. We will talk about it, but again, footage coming up. But I think if the FanFest thing is to be believed, then obviously the fact that they've made this comment that there could be a Nova, then that's great. It does worry me there's still no funding for it, so we'll have to see about that. I did notice as well on the Dust 514 forums, yes, they're still active, that there is even a post saying, or linking rather, to CCP recruiting talent to make a Nova-style game. So that's good as well. So, it doesn't feel as if it's completely dead. I'd say it's on life support, and its family are gathered round, but it's not clear if they're going to ever make Nova. Let's be clear on that. I hope they do, because that would be cool. I did think Dust 514 was a great game, and I couldn't even tell you why. I mean, I did all these videos of it, no idea why. I think it was just hobby, really, I guess. But yeah, I do miss. I miss the kind of the fun. Pick up the you had a hard day at work, come home, shoot something, go to bed. And while I like games like as I say, Elite Dangerous, that kind of reward you for persistence and grind, I'm not really into that anymore. I think I played, and I'll tell you a quick story. So I played Factorio. If you've ever played the game Factorio, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. But if you haven't, it's like a top-down. I mean, I think I've even done videos of it. Go and have a look. Seriously, you'll see them. And it's just a very kind of simple top-down, resource-generating, logistic, simulating, factory building, survival, tower defense game. But tower defense game does it a massive disservice. It is a fully complete upgrade game, and it's just absolutely worth your time, but not if you don't have a lot of it, because I downloaded it. I saw on Steam literally tricked me. It lifted its skirt and said, oh, Factorio's had an update, would you like to install this? And I thought, yeah, go on then. And then 6 hours later, I looked at my watch thinking it only like half an hour had passed, and I had set up a whole logistics base. I was producing, guns and plates and armor and vehicles. I had a train system delivering resources to my base. And, in trade for this progress, I had spent 6 hours of my life that I won't get back. And I really got quite angry. So, yeah, I got a bit annoyed at that. And I think that's a good example of just, games that I think are great, but they certainly seem to draw your time. And I just don't have the time to put into them anymore. And I think that's the shame in a way, because I was quite willing to put the time into Dust. Because it was simple, you could pick it up, you could play it, then you could drop it. And I think I miss those kind of games. So VR to me is a great way to play these sort of things, where you don't have to worry too much about it. And yes, I just killed myself with a gun. Right, over to Valkyrie. So Valkyrie is... I didn't even buy this game because I just refused to spend £60, which is a huge amount of money for a game like this. It's just embarrassingly large, to be honest. But I actually got given it for Christmas by my brother, just because he saw it in my Steam library that I didn't have it, but it was on my wish list. And he was like, oh, go on, and I'll get you that. And I played it for about 20-30 minutes when it was first, or rather at Christmas, and I hated it. I despise this game because, and I'll tell you why, because it took me about half an hour to get into the game, because we don't have an Xbox controller here in this house. We just do not. So you have to have an Xbox controller to accept the EULA before it will allow you in to then select another controller, which to me is the special kind of CCP development that we've all come to know and love. It was the most ridiculous scenario that I'm kind of scrabbling about, trying to remember if my old Xbox 360 controller is still here, or did I sell it and give it away, or whatever. And, me and my brother spent it was probably about an hour, actually. And we then downloaded an emulator which pretended that a PS4 controller, once we'd loaded the driver for that, was a Xbox controller. We managed to fool the game, and then we just were so tired and knackered that we just didn't bother. So we got to the point where we tried it. My immediate reaction was, yeah, whatever. And I think I got into a match filled with bots, and I just thought, what's the point? So I uninstalled it and walked away with anger in my heart, as I'm sure you're all aware I do have. And recently I decided to reinstall the game, and lo and behold, you're now seeing the footage of it. And the only reason I did is because, look, it's on the ground now. So all of that kind of knowledge, if you like, from the Dust 514 days has been seemingly thrown away. Because firstly, none of these maps are from that era or that kind of time. And you can tell because A, they look a lot better than the Dust maps, and B, they kind of look quite nice. I've got to admit, I did like it. There's only one, by the way, I should just point out, there's only one map at the moment. I think the whole game of Valkyrie only has, 7 maps, maybe 8, which is nothing wrong with that, but once you've seen them all, it gets a bit samey. But I would just stress, this game is actually not bad. There's even the ability just to fly around the maps. I remember saying that for Dust 514. You could do that in here, and you can advance the story, and there's a single-player mode as well. On to weird sort of anime ladies with swords. I thought I'd include this because, and again, sorry for the footage, because obviously I recorded this on a mobile phone. I didn't, it just seemed to record it in a weird band. Obviously peripheral vision, pretend I've got a helmet on. I don't, but this is the footage will not do it credit. This is actually a pretty good game. It's Valkyrie, and not to be mistaken with Valkyrie. This is Valkyrie Swords and Blades and Short Skirts or something. And it's pretty good because I've got to admit, there's not many sword games out there that make me go, do you know what, this isn't bad, this is actually pretty good. And it's tough. I think I'm playing footage from about level 9, which is pretty difficult, but again, I thought I'd just show it because, you know, you get to see a woman dead on floor with a skirt up, which is not creepy in any way. And I think the vast majority of this game is, again, showcasing the fact that VR could be quite good, because you'll notice that everything, so my hand motion on my left and the hand motion on the right is all me. I'm not, you know, this isn't an animation or anything. And you have to literally sword fight someone, and you have to obviously block and defend and parry and thrust, and it's pretty good. I was amazed how good this was. Oh, and it's free as well, by the way. So another example of free games. I think it's a demo, so probably it will be full price at some point, but things like this you just wouldn't get on any other game. And I think VR is still very experimental. It still needs a real shot in the arm from a good game. I think Fallout 4 and Half-Life 2 could well be those games, because they're both very credible games. Having now played Half-Life 2 in a semi-VR state, as in the controls were normal, but the world view was full VR, it blew my mind. It blew my freaking mind when I got attacked by one of those weird face crab zombie things. And I shot it, and it landed on the floor. And I looked down, and then it was there. It was at my feet. That feeling of, oh my God, this thing's actually at my feet, creeped me out like crazy. And then I did a very weird, girly kind of cry of scream of whatever when one of those black face things stung me and obviously takes you to 1 health. Terrified me, absolutely terrified me. And I think that's a real kind of moment in gaming when all of a sudden you're fully more immersed than you would have been just looking at it through a screen. So my feeling is VR is here to stay. It's going to get better, and it's going to be pretty good. And I think, you know, games like this just showcase what you can do with it. But I think eventually you're going to see a big developer pick it up and run with it. I think Fallout 4 will be good. I'm hoping it will be similar to this. I don't know how ambulation works, but the one failing of VR, and we just have a few moments left, let me just quickly explain what the failings are, is that you either have to teleport, or because if you get sick moving around with it, you have to teleport, because obviously you'll get sick. If you don't get sick, you can just use the controller to move forward, backwards, left or right. But again, people get quite queasy with that. But the third one, which I have now tried, which I think is brilliant, is the ability to jog on the spot and to run on the spot. And then it runs you in or jogs you in a game. And I tell you what, that is brilliant, because I got a workout doing it. And by the time I was playing it, I was like, I can't be asked to run across the other side of the room. I'm tired. And I had to stop and have a breather because I was wheezing. That is cool. That is brilliant. So there we go. That's my VR retrospective. I will do more of these, so expect more. I don't even know if anyone's watching. Peace out. Enjoy.